Okay. Shalom. Shalom to everyone out there. Shalom. This is the Milk Deliverance of Israel and the Seed Souls of Israel camps. Once again, coming right back at you with another quick video. Shalom. First and foremost, let's start off by giving all honor, thanks, praise, and glory to our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach Yahushai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKadosh. Secondly, much love to all of the brothers and sisters out there, no matter if you're part of a camp or not, that's pushing this biblical truth with all faith and sincerity. To all of our people out there with eyes to see, ears to hear, and a mind to understand. Right? So what I want to call this video here is, are we supposed to be meatitarians, vegans, or vegetarians? Right? Which one are we supposed to be? So the reason why I decided to make this video is because, sometimes our people, man, we be at each other's necks about this topic here, right? About what we're supposed to be eating, what we're supposed to be, if we're supposed to be vegans or vegetarians or meatitarians, whatever you want to call it, herbivores, carnivores, whatever you want to call it, omnivores, what are we supposed to be? And it's to the point where our people, man, it's like we're shaming each other for what we're eating nowadays. No matter what it is, no matter if it's some kind of a fruit or vegetable, or if it's fruits and vegetables only, or if it's meats, or if it's meats only without vegetables, or something else, or any other kind of junk food or whatever. Now, me, don't get me wrong, I'm all for eating healthy. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's a biblical diet, or the so-called Mediterranean diet, or they call it the Keto diet or whatever. Even though the Keto diet, I think that they eat biblically unclean foods. So I'm not really all for the Keto diet, but I am for the ancient Paleo or Paleo diet. It's a biblically clean diet, right? But some of our people, we're to the point where we're downright shaming each other for what we're eating. You know what I'm saying? And it's sort of embarrassing, man, to the point where, it's done in public places or whatever, in restaurants, or if it's done at family gatherings or whatever. And it's just crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? And you're not supposed to really judge no one in what they're eating. Now, if it's biblically clean, it's all good. You know what I mean? Now, if you're eating unclean foods that's, contained to the biblical laws, then you're supposed to be told about what you're not supposed to eat and what you're supposed to eat, right? So that's the reason why I decided to put this video together, man, to put an end to all of this, concerning the biblical scriptures on how we're supposed to be eating, or what we're supposed to be eating. Now, just like I said before, I don't really have any problems against vegans or vegetarians or whatever, or meatitarians. Me, I think I'm all in three, right? But, I think it's to the point where this video have to be done because, there's no reason why we should be shaming or embarrassing each other on what we eat, right? So, as I was saying before, I got a couple of scriptures that I'm going to bring out that's relating to this topic. And I'm going to go to the book of St. Matthew, chapter 5. Okay. We're going to go to the book of St. Matthew, chapter 5. And I'm going to start at verse 17. So I'm going to pull it up on my screen here so everyone can read along. Or if you have your Bibles, you can bring that out too. And you can read along with me. Now, I'm in the King James Bible, okay? So this is in the book of St. Matthew, chapter 5, and I'm starting at verse 17. And it reads, "Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Verse 18, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Verse 19, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, which is the law, statutes, the commandments of the Most High, by the way, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. All right, so this is Hamashiach letting the world know, the world of Israel, that is, know that if anyone teach men to break these laws, or if them themselves are not keeping the laws, you're going to be called the least in heaven. Right? And he's also letting you know in verse 18, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law. Now that's concerning the dietary law. Okay, you know, there's 7 high holy days that the Most High commanded his children to keep, which is the children of Israel. And during those 7 high holy days, it's a necessity to eat meat. You know, there were sacrifices that were being done in those biblical times back then, when we were in our own nation, and when we was keeping those high holy days, we had to keep those animal sacrifices too. You know, no matter if it was a goat or if it was a lamb, preferably the lamb, but you know, we were sacrificing goats, we were sacrificing sheeps, lambs, bulls, you know, all biblically clean, biblical meats, right? There was a no unclean meat. There was a no swine or anything like that, or any other rabbits or gerbils or any other unclean beasts, all right? You know, no shellfish or anything like that. It was all biblically clean meats, right? So this is what Hamashiach says. This is written in red letter too, by the way. You know, you may not be able to see it on the screen here, but if you're in your Bibles, you know, preferably the King James Version, it's written in red letter. So Christ is letting you know that he have not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill, all right? So we're going to go to the book of Romans, chapter 14. The book of Romans, chapter 14. And now I'll start at verse 13. And it reads as follows. Let us not therefore judge one another any more, okay? But judge this rather, that no man put a stumbling block or an occasion to fall in a brother's way, or his brother's way. Verse 14, I know and am persuaded by the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai that there is nothing unclean of itself, but to him that esteemeth anything to be unclean, to him it is unclean. Verse 15, but if thy brother be grieved with thy meat, now walkest thou not charitably, destroy not him with thy meat, for whom Hamashiach died. Verse 16. Let not then your good be evil spoken of. Verse 17. For the kingdom of the Most High is not meat and drink, but righteousness. What is the righteousness? The keeping of the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, and the rehearsing of the righteous acts amongst your brethren and your sister, right? For the kingdom of the Most High is not meat and drink, but righteousness and peace and joy in the Holy Spirit. Even though it's written Holy Ghost, but we say Holy Spirit, right? Verse 18, for he that is in these things serveth Hamashiach, is acceptable to the Most High and approved of men. Let us therefore follow after the things which make peace, and things wherewith one may edify another. Verse 20, For meat destroyeth not the work of the Most High. All things indeed are pure, but it is evil for that man who eateth with offense. All right. So you have a lot of religious people, in Christianity or Roman Catholicism or whatever. You're Jehovah's Witness, you're a Pentecostal, you're Baptist or whatever, you're Mormons, you're Lutherans. I mean, you name it, all of the different branches in Christianity, right? A lot of them, they stumble at this right here, which is in verse 20, when it says, for meat destroyeth not the work of the Most High. All things indeed are impure. Now, when Paul says this, he don't mean that all meats are indeed pure as far as the unclean meats, the biblically unclean meats like your swine, your catfish, right? Your shellfish. This is not what this is talking about, okay? And also, concerning the scriptures, when it says meat, it necessarily doesn't mean the flesh of an animal. It can mean the flesh of a fruit, the flesh of a vegetable, all right? So this is where a lot of religious Christians, they stumble at, right? On verse 20. So when it says all things indeed are pure, it doesn't mean that your swine is pure. It doesn't mean that your Easter's ham or your Ishtar's ham is clean. It doesn't mean that your plate of gumbo or your plate of shellfish that's at Red Lobster or whatever is pure. Okay? That's not what this is talking about, man. As it says here, for meat destroyeth not the work of the Most High. All things indeed are pure, but it is evil for that man who eateth with offense. Now, if you're eating with offense, you're breaking the dietary law. If you're eating swine, you're breaking the dietary law. If you're eating shellfish, you're breaking the dietary law, okay? If you're eating catfish, you're breaking the dietary law. Or anything that's unclean concerning the scriptures, you're breaking the dietary law, okay? No rabbit stew, all right? No snake, no alligator, or any of these other weird things that people like to eat out here. You got people over there in Asia eating bats and shit, man, all right? Salakia for that. All right, so that's what that's talking about. If you're eating with offense, also if you're eating on these so-called wicked holidays, right? Like you have Easter, you have Christmas, okay? You have Thanksgiving that's coming up, all right? That's what you call eating with offense, because you're eating dedicated to other gods, all right? So that's what you call eating with offense. If you're eating your Christmas ham or turkey or whatever, you're eating in the name of an ancient Greek god for Christmas, okay? Or you could say your ancient Babylonian god, which is really Tammuz, all right? And Nimrod. So that's what you're really celebrating, because Nimrod and Tammuz was born on December the 25th. All right? So that's basically what you're eating your Christmas dinner to, in the name of them two. Okay? Or if you want to go back to Easter, you're dedicating your Easter ham or whatever, or your Easter whatever, your Easter turkey or whatever. You're dedicating that to a false deity, all right, which is Ishtar or Ashtoreth. All right? So that's what you call eating with offense, or if you're breaking the biblical dietary law. All right? So I just wanted to throw that out there. So let's read verse 20 again. It says, for meat destroyeth not the work of the Most High. All things indeed are pure, but it is evil for that man who eateth with offense. Verse 21, it is good neither to eat flesh, nor to drink wine, nor anything whereby thy brother stumbleth, or is offended, or is made weak. All right? So if you're someone that's in the world and you're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and you're by someone who is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and they're trying their best to keep the dietary laws of the Most High, then you shouldn't eat with offense in front of that brother. Don't eat a pork chop sandwich in front of them. Don't eat a catfish sandwich in front of them. Don't eat a plate of gumbo in front of them, or a plate of king crab legs or snow crabs or whatever, right? Or clams or mussels, right? So this is what you do when you cause your brother to be offended, as it says here in verse 21. It is good neither to eat flesh, nor to drink wine, nor anything whereby thy brother stumbleth, or is offended, or is made weak. Okay? So we're going to go to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 8. Okay, 1 Corinthians chapter 8. And I'm going to start at verse 7. And it reads as follows. Howbeit, there is not in every man that knowledge. For some with conscience of the idol unto this hour eat it as a thing offered unto an idol. And their conscience being weak is defiled. Okay, so this is like I was reading before in Romans chapter 14. When you eat with offense, you're eating to an idol. When you're eating on Christmas, when you're eating on Thanksgiving, when you're eating on Easter, all right, or New Year's, or even your birthday. You know what I'm saying? That's a form of idolization. When you're eating in the name of yourself, all right, that's all vanity. That's idolatry, okay? So this is what this is talking about here. Verse 7 again. Howbeit, there is not in every man that knowledge. Okay, the knowledge of these scriptures here that's talking about. For some with conscience of the idol unto this hour eat it as a thing offered unto the idol. And their conscience being weak is defiled. Okay, your conscience is defiled when you're eating to the idol. All right. But the meat condemneth us not to the Most High, for neither if we eat are we the better, neither if we eat not are we the worse. But take heed lest by any means this liberty, which is the faith, the grace that we're given now after the shedding of Hamashiach's blood, right, on the cross. But take heed lest any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block. All right, so this is what we're not supposed to do. We're not supposed to let this grace and this liberty become a stumbling block for us to sin, all right, to break the dietary law. All right, to him that are weak. For if any man see that thee which has knowledge sit at meat in a idol's temple, okay, your so-called idol's temple, or your religious churches, right, your Muslim shrines and all that, all right. Okay, that's what that is. Or any other place that worship a false deity, okay? Or your Muslim mosque, I should say. Verse 10 again. For if any man see that which has knowledge sit at meat in the idol's temple, shall not the conscience of him which is weak be emboldened to eat those things which are offered to idols? Verse 11. And although thy knowledge shall the weak brother perish, from whom Christ Hamashiach died, all right? So this is who Hamashiach gave the grace and the mercy to, for everyone who's weak. Just as he says in the book of St. Matthew and in Luke and in Mark, you know, those who are only sick are in need of a physician, all right? So for the brothers, you know, whose conscience is weak, you know, if they don't know if they're eating to an idol or not, or if they don't know about the dietary law, if they don't know that the swine is unclean, if they don't know that the catfish is unclean, if they don't know that the shellfish is unclean, this is what you call the brother with the weak conscience, right? As it says here again, verse 11. And although thy knowledge shall the weak brother perish, for whom Hamashiach died, verse 12. But when ye sin so against the brethren, and would their weak conscience ye sin against Hamashiach. Okay, so if you're placing that stumbling block in front of that brother who may not know about the dietary law, then you're causing offense to Hamashiach, all right? Verse 13. Wherefore, if meek make my brother to offend, which is offend the Most High in Hamashiach in breaking the dietary law, I will eat no flesh while the world standeth, all right? This has the Most High and Hamashiach said in the book of St. Matthew, you know, until heaven and earth pass, not one jot or tittle, okay, shall pass from the law. So as it says here again, this is reiterating that too in verse 13. Wherefore, if meek make my brother to offend, I will eat no flesh while the world standeth, lest I make my brother to offend, meaning break the dietary law. All right. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 46. Okay, we're in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 46, and I'm going to start at verse 3, and it reads, Likewise, the people of this land shall worship at the door of this gate before the Lord, which is the Most High, right? In the Sabbaths and in the new moons, verse 4, and the burnt offering that the prince shall offer unto the Most High in the Sabbath day shall be 6 lambs, okay? 6 lambs without blemish, and a ram without blemish, okay? Now, what is a lamb or a ram? That's flesh. That's animal flesh, as I was saying before, all right? So this is the Most High. You know, this is his obligation to the children of Israel, as it says here, starting at verse 3 again. Likewise, the people of this land shall worship at the door of this gate before the Most High in the Sabbaths and in the new moons, verse 4, and the burnt offering that the prince shall offer unto the Lord, the Most High, in the Sabbath day shall be 6 lambs without blemish and a ram without blemish, verse 5. And the meat offering shall be an ephah for a ram, and the meat offering for the lambs as he shall be able to give, and a hin of oil to an ephah. Verse 6. And in the day of the new moon it shall be a young bullock without blemish, and 6 lambs and a ram. Okay, that's more meat. That's more animal flesh there, all right? For your meatitarians out there, okay? Let me move this right here. Verse 7. And he shall prepare a meat offering, an ephah for a bullock, and an ephah for a ram, and for the lambs according as his hand shall attain unto, and an hin of oil for an ephah. Verse 8. And when the prince shall enter, he shall go in by the way of the porch of that gate, and he shall go forth by the way thereof. Verse 9. But when the people of the land shall come before the Most High in the solemn feast, he that entereth in by the way of the north gate to worship shall go out by the way of the south gate, and he that entereth by the way of the south gate shall go forth by the way of the north gate, and he not return by the way of the gate whereby he came in, but shall go forth over against it. Verse 10. And the prince in the midst of them, when they go in, shall go in, and when they go forth, shall go forth. Verse 11. And in the feasts and in the solemnities, the meat offering, okay, shall be an ephah to a bullock, and an ephah to a ram, and to the lambs as he is able to give, and a hin of oil to an ephah. Okay, so that goes to show right there that even the Most High commanded the children of Israel, which is you so-called descendants of slaves, okay? You so-called Negroes and Hispanics and Mexicans, all right? Your Native Americans, okay? So this is what this is for. This is for you right here. So this is right here to let you know, even though that you're discussing with your people whether we should be meatitarians or vegetarians or vegans, right here. And if you call yourself a so-called Christian, a religious Christian, who's following so-called Jesus Christ, right, in which the world ignorantly calls, by the way, then this is right here for you. You know, so you can't be out here forcing people to be vegans or vegetarians, and you call yourself a Christian, a religious Christian. All right, right here shows that the Most High require the children of Israel to eat meat and bring meat offerings onto him. Okay, so we're going to go to the book of Numbers, chapter 11. You know, once again, this is the milk deliverers of Israel and the seed sows of Israel, delivering that milk and sowing that seed to all of our people out there with eyes to see, ears to hear, and a mind to understand, right? So we're going to go to the book of Numbers, chapter 11. And I'm going to start at verse 18, and it reads as follows. And say thou unto the people, all right, which is the children of Israel, right? Sanctify yourselves against tomorrow, and ye shall eat flesh, okay? For ye have wept in the ears of the Most High, saying, who shall give us flesh to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt, which is bondage, by the way. That's where the children of Israel was for 400 plus years, all right? Therefore, the Most High will give you flesh, and ye shall eat. Verse 19. Ye shall not eat 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, neither 10 days, nor 20 days. Verse 20. But even a whole month, until it come out at your nostrils. Okay, so this is the Most High. It's like, yo, I'm going to flood you with food, okay? As it says here in verse 19 again. Ye shall eat not 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, neither 10 days, nor 20 days, but even a whole month, until it come out at your nostrils, and it be loathsome unto you. Okay, so the Most High is saying, once again, he's going to flood the children of Israel with food and flesh, because that's what they've been begging to him and praying to him about, right? In continuation, verse 20. Because that ye have despised the Most High, which is among you, and have wept before him, saying, why came we forth out of Egypt, which is bondage, all right? So you had the children of Israel, they was complaining in the wilderness to the Most High that they actually had it better in bondage, in slavery in Egypt, right? Verse 21. And Moses said, the people among whom I am are 600,000 footmen, and thou hast said, I will give them flesh, that they may eat a whole month. All right, let's jump down to verse 31. And there went forth a wind from the Most High and brought quail, okay, from the sea. Now, quail nowadays, you know, that can be related to your modern day hen or gain or chicken, all right? So that's what the quails are, as it says here, verse 31 again. And there went a fourth wind from the Most High and brought quail from the sea and let them fall by the camp. Okay, the camp is where the children of Israel were, in the wilderness. As it were a day's journey on this side, and as it were a day's journey on the other side, round about the camp. And as it were 2 cubits high upon the face of the earth. All right, so the Most High flooded them with quail. Okay, so once again, that's the Most High giving the children of Israel quail, which can be called your modern day chicken or gain or hen, okay, which is animal flesh to eat. All right. So as a matter of fact, let's get into the definitions of what each are, all right? All right, so you have your vegetarian here, okay? As you can see on my screen here. Vegetarian, a person who does not eat meat, and sometimes other animal products, especially for moral, religious, or health reasons. All right. So for the most part, when a person become a vegetarian or a vegan, they doing it for like a religious or a health reason. All right. So, and most people that I know, you know what I'm saying, they do it for the health reasons. They want to lose weight, or they want to become healthy. They want to lower their blood pressure. They want to lower their cholesterol or whatever. They want to get rid of their hypertension, right? They want to lower their chances of getting cancer, you know. So basically, that's the reason why a lot of people that I know become vegetarians. All right. And then, of course, you have your other people out there that's religious. I'm not really too sure of what religious or religion wants to become a vegan or whatever, or any religious person. Now, I have read a little bit on Scientology, and I have heard that those guys, you know, they are vegans. A lot of those guys are vegans, right? And then you have another religion out there that I was reading up on. I think they call it Reliism. I think it is Reliism or Reliism. You know, a lot of those guys, they're vegan because of religious beliefs, right? Just like your Scientology people. Okay, so that's basically the reason why people become vegans here, as it says here. Especially for moral, religious, or health reasons. All right. And then as an adjective, it says relating to the exclusion of meat or other animal products from the diet. All right. So that's your definition of vegetarian. And then you have your vegan here.
Vegan.
Now this right here is just a person, as it says here, for a noun, a person who does not eat or use animal products, okay? So it really doesn't have to be for a religious or a health reason. They just want to eat vegetables just because, right? As it says here in the sentence below it, I'm a strict vegan, all right? So that's basically what it is. And it says right here, veganism. Veganism is the practice of abstaining from the use of animal products, particularly in a diet, and an associated philosophy that rejects the commodity status of animals. An individual who follows the diet or philosophy is known as a vegan, all right? Distinctions may be made between several categories of veganism. All right, so that's basically what they are. You know, they hate the fact of eating meat, all right, or being a meatitarian. Or these are the ones that you can actually say, as I was explaining in the beginning of the video, you know, these are the ones that try to shame the meatitarians. Oh, why you're eating meat? You shouldn't be eating chicken. You shouldn't be eating beef or whatever, or even fish. You know, they try to shame the meatitarians, right? And then you have the meatitarians try to shame the vegans. Let them know that you're not getting enough protein when you're eating only vegetables. You're not getting enough iron, or so on and so forth, right? So this is what this come to, man. This is what our people are doing. We're shaming each other off our diets, right? But let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14. Okay. Let's see what the Most High have to say about this in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14. Salakia. Bear with me 1 minute here. And I'm going to start at verse 3. And it reads as follows. Thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. Verse 4. These are the beasts which ye shall eat. Okay. Now, what is the beast? Those are animals. All right. That's not talking about a tree. That's not talking about a vegetable or a plant or anything else. Right. These are the beasts ye shall eat. the ox, the sheep, and the goat. All right, this is the Most High talking. Verse 5, the hart and the roebuck, and the fallow deer, and the wild goat, and the pygarg, and the wild ox, and the chamois. Verse 6, and every beast, Salakia, that parteth the hoof, and cleaveth the cleft into the two claws, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, ye shall eat. All right. Verse 7, nevertheless, these ye shall not eat of them that cheweth the cud, or of them that divideth the cloven hoof, as the camel. All right. And the hare, all right, which is your rabbit, right? It's in your rabbit family. And the coney, for they chew the cud, but divide not the hoof. Therefore they are unclean unto you. Okay. So the Most High already made the clear distinction of all of the beasts that you can eat and can't eat. All right. He didn't say that you have to be a vegan or a vegetarian right here. He's giving you a clear distinction of all of the beasts of the earth, all of the fleshly animal beasts of the earth that you can eat and that you can't eat. All right. As it says here in verse 7 again, nevertheless, these ye shall not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divideth the cloven hoof, as the camel. Okay. And also that's strike one for Islam there. You know what I'm saying? Because I've read that if you're in dire needs, if you're about to die, if your life is on the line, you can eat your camel. Okay. That's a practice in Islam that I read about. And the hare. All right. So you can't eat no rabbit stew. All of these people out here like to eat squirrel and rabbit stew and all that, right? This is what the Most High said. And the hare and the coney, for they chew the cud, but divideth not the hoof. Therefore they are unclean. They are biblically unclean unto you. Okay. Verse 8, and here's the kicker, right? For most of our people. And the swine. Okay. What is the swine known as today? The pig, the hog. All right. And the swine, because it divideth the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud. It is unclean. Okay. Unclean unto you. All right. So Romans chapter 14 and 1 Corinthians doesn't apply to this right here. All right. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. So you're not even supposed to be touching these things, right? Verse 9, these ye shall eat of all that are in the waters. All that have fins and scales ye shall eat. Okay. Or as it says here, shall ye eat. Verse 10, and whatsoever have not fins and scales ye may not eat. It is unclean unto you. Okay. So if it don't have no fins, Salakia, or no scales, you shouldn't be eating it. If it's a crab or a lobster or a clam or a mussel, okay, which have no fins and no scales, catfish, all right, your eels, okay, all of the fish that's in the waters that don't have no fins and scales, man, you're not supposed to be eating. As the Most High says right here, it is unclean unto you. Verse 11, of all clean birds ye shall eat, okay, but these are they of which ye shall not eat. All right, the eagle, okay, the ossifrage, and the offspring, okay, and the gilead, and the kite, and the vulture of its kind, and every raven after his kind. Verse 15, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckcow, okay, and the hawk after his kind, and the little owl, and the great owl, and the swan. All right. So no matter how pretty your swan looks out there with the white feathers and all that, you're not supposed to be eating those things, man. They're unclean. All right. And the pelican, and the gyre eagle, and the cormorant. Verse 18, Slakia, and the stork, and the heron of her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat. Okay. To all of you Asians out there, no matter if you're Chinese or Vietnamese or Japanese or Korean, all right, as it says here, or Taiwanese, I'm going all down the line, right? Either one that I can remember, in which they are biblically named Moab and Ammon, all right? Verse 18 again for you. And the stork and the heron after her kind, and the lapwing and the bat, all right? Verse 19. And every creeping thing that flieth is unclean unto you. They shall not be eating, all right? Verse 20. But of all clean fowls ye may eat. Verse 21. Ye shall not eat anything that dieth of itself, all right? So if the animal is already dead, if you come up on a chicken or whatever that's already dead, or a lamb or a cow or whatever that's already dead or whatever, you don't know what they died from. You know, they could have died from a disease or whatever, all right? So, or some sort of a virus or whatever that he couldn't get rid of, okay? So as it says here, verse 21 again, ye shall not eat of anything that dieth of itself. Thou shalt give it unto the stranger that is within thy gates, all right? What is those strangers? Those are the people of the other nations, all right? They already eating those things anyway, right? You go to Asia, they eating bats and alligators and snakes and all of that. You know, squirrels, dog, rabbits, all of the things that's unclean, biblically unclean, right? So that's the reason why 21 says, ye shall not eat of anything that died of itself. Thou shalt give it unto the stranger that is within thy gates, Salakia, that he may eat it. Or thou mayst sell it unto an alien, okay? So when it speaks of an alien, this doesn't mean like some extraterrestrial person that's out of space or whatever, so-called out of space, all right? Your alien is just someone that's not of your nation of people, all right? A foreigner, so to speak, okay? Or thou mayest sell it unto an alien, for thou art an holy people, okay? You so-called descendants of slaves, you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and Seminole Indians, all right? For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God, which is your God, your power. Thou shalt not seeth a kid in a mother's milk, all right? So once again, the Most High is letting you know in Deuteronomy 14, all of the things that you could eat that's of an animal and not, all right? So we're going to go to the book of Leviticus, chapter 11. Okay. Salakia. Bear with me 1 second here. So it's all throughout the scriptures, man, of the diet that we're supposed to have. You know, so it shouldn't be up in the air, you know, on what we should eat, what we can't eat, how we should live, and how we should judge each other on their diets or whatever. It's all in the scriptures, man. So if you call yourself a religious Christian or whatever, who's following so-called Jesus Christ, all right, then this is right here for you, man. This is all in the same Bible, as you can see here on my screen, King James Version. This is the same Bible that's collecting dust on your nightstand that you barely read, all right? All right, so in the book of Leviticus, chapter 11, and I'm going to start at verse 1, and it reads, And the Most High spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. All right? So this is right here. This is a little reiteration right here to Numbers and Deuteronomy. Okay, verse 2. Again, speak unto the children of Israel, which is you so-called descendants of slaves, all right? Saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Verse 3. Whatsoever part of the hoof and is cloven-footed and cheweth the cud among the beasts ye shall eat. Verse 4. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that cheweth the cud, or of them that divideth the hoof, as the camel. Okay, that's strike 2 for Islam there too again, all right? Because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you, all right? Verse 5. And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. Verse 6. And the hare, okay, the bunny, all right, your cute little bunny rabbit, all right, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. Verse 7. And the swine, all right, the pig, your hog maw, all right, your pork chops, okay, your BLT sandwich, all right, your bacon and egg platter, okay. And the swine, though he divideth the hoof, and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean unto you. Verse 8. Of their flesh ye shall, Salakia, shall ye not eat, and their carcasses shall ye not touch, they are unclean unto you. So that's another reiteration there. You're not even supposed to be touching their dead carcasses, all right? So if there ever come a time where they're in your way, you know, if they're a stumbling block onto you, if they're blocking your path or whatever, if you have some gloves, put it on. That's the only way that you're able to touch these things while they're dead. Or if you could jump over them and just go about your way or whatever, do so, you can do that. All right, but this is just to let you know, when they're dead, you're not supposed to be even touching these things, right? Verse 9. These shall ye of all that are in the waters, whatsoever have fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. Verse 10. And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination, a hateful thing unto you. Okay, so if it don't have fins or scales, okay, once again, your lobsters, your crabs, your shrimps, your brine shrimp, all right, your caviar, your clams, your mussels, your lobsters, all right, your scallops, okay, your catfish, or any other things that people like to eat, right? Verse 11. They shall be an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses in abomination. So if you're going to eat them, you're going to have an abomination, all right, to the Most High. Verse 12. Whatsoever have no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. So the Most High is just continuously reiterating this to our people, right? And this is something that our people refuse to listen to, man. Verse 13. And these are they which ye shall have an abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten, they are an abomination. The eagle and the ossifrich and the offspring, all right? And the vulture and the kite after his kind, okay? Every raven after his kind, and the owl and the nighthawk, and the cuckow, and the hawk of his kind, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl, and the swan, and the pelican, and the gier eagle, and the stork, and Salakia, the heron of after her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat, all right? So that's strike two for those Asians out there too, all right? Verse 20. All fowls that creep, going upon all fours, shall be an abomination unto you. All right, so that's once again the Most High reiterating all of the things that you can eat and cannot eat. All right, let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 16. Salakia. All right, we're in the book of Exodus, chapter 16, and it reads as follows. Starting from verse 11. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. Speak unto them, saying, at eve, which is evening, that's sundown, right? Ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be filled with bread. And ye shall know that I am the Lord your God, which is the Most High, your power, your Elohim. Verse 13. And it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp. All right. So this is another reiteration that's in the book of Numbers. All right. And in the morning, the dew laid around about the host. And when the dew that laid was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there were lay a small round thing, as small the hoar frost on the ground, Salakia. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, It is manna. For they wist not what it was. And Moses said unto them, This is the bread which the Most High have given you to eat. All right. Verse 16. This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, an omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents. And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more, some less. All right. So some took a lot, some took a little bit. Verse 18. And when they did meet, it was an omer. He that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. All right. So not only did the Most High give the children of Israel some manna in the wilderness, they also gave them quail. All right. So that's another reiteration, just as in the book of Numbers. So that just goes to show that the Most High allows you to eat meat. All right. So there shouldn't be any discussions talking about, oh, God said that we're not supposed to eat meat. We're only supposed to be eating fruits and vegetables. Well, I just gave you plenty of scriptures here that the Most High was dealing with the children of Israel by giving them some meat. Okay. We're going to go to the book of Nehemiah, chapter 10. And I'm going to start at verse 31, and it reads as follows. And if the people of the land bring ware or any victuals on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy it of them on the Sabbath day, or on the holy day, and that we would leave the 7th year and the exaction of every debt. Verse 32. Also we made ordinances for us to charge ourselves yearly with the 3rd part of a shekel for the service of the house of the Most High, for the shewbread, and for the continual meat offering. All right, meat offering, and for the continual burnt offerings of the Sabbaths of the new moons, for the seat or set Salakia feasts, and for the holy things, and for the sin offerings, to make an atonement for Israel, to make an atonement for sins for Israel, and for all the work of the house of our God, which is our power. All right. So as it says here again, verse 33, for the shewbread and for the continual meat offering. All right. So when it says meat here, that can mean bread, or that can mean, the flesh of an animal, or it can mean the flesh of a fruit or vegetables, as I said before in the beginning of the video, right? But as it says here in continuation, and for the continual burnt offerings of the Sabbaths of the new moons. All right. So we already discussed what's the sacrifices of the new moons and for the Sabbaths given on to the Most High, which is animal flesh. All right. You have your bullocks, and then you have your lambs, and then you have your goats. Okay. So as it says here, verse 33 again, for the shewbread and for the continual meat offerings and for the continual burnt offerings of the Sabbaths, okay, of the new moons, for the set feasts and for the holy things and for the sin offerings, to make an atonement for Israel, all right, the 12 tribes of Israel, the so-called descendants of slaves, okay, and for all the work of the house of the Most High, all right. So let's go to the book of Colossians chapter 2. Once again, this is the milk deliverance of Israel and the seed souls of Israel, delivering that milk and sowing that seed to our people out there with eyes to see, ears to hear, and a mind to understand. You know, this is not a bashing video of vegans or vegetarians or meatitarians. It's just an edifying video. That's all. Hopefully that is edifying to all of our people out there, so we don't have to continue going at each other's necks on how our diets should be, right? All right, so we're going to go to the book of Colossians, chapter 2. And I'm going to start at verse 16. And it reads as follows. Let no man therefore judge you in meat, all right, or in drink, or in respect of an holy day, all right? Now, that doesn't mean that these wicked holidays that this is talking about here, it's not talking about Thanksgiving, it's not talking about Easter, it's not talking about Christmas or so-called New Year's, which is in the depth of winter, right? It's not talking about all of those days. It's not talking about your birthday, all right? It's not talking about Labor Day. It's not talking about the 4th of July. It's not talking about Memorial Day, all right? It's talking about the 7 high holy days according to the biblical scriptures, okay? Verse 16 again. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of the Most High, okay, high holy day, or of the new moon, okay, which is the dark moon. The new moon is not the full moon, all right, or of the Sabbath days, which is the 7th day of the week, all right, that's the Sabbath day. Verse 17, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body of Hamashiach, all right. Let's go to the book of St. John. Chapter 21. Slakia. Okay, we're in the book of St. John, chapter 21. Starting at verse 4 through 14, and it reads as follows. Let me move this up a little bit. But when the morning was now come, Yahushua stood on the shore, but the disciples knew not that it was Yahushua. Then Yahushua saith unto them, children, have ye any meat? Okay, children, have ye any meat? This is what Hamashiach says, as you see on the screen here, right? They answered him, no. Verse 6, and he said unto them, cast the net on the right side of the ship, and ye shall find. They cast therefore, and now they were not able to draw it for the multitude of what? Fishes, okay? What is fish? Animal flesh, okay? Now this is Hamashiach feeding his disciples, okay? Verse 7, therefore that disciple whom Hamashiach loved said unto Peter, it is the Lord, all right, which is the Most High. So he's saying it was a blessing from the Most High that they have so much fish, the multitude of fish, right? Now, when Simon Peter heard that it was the Most High, he girt his fisher's coat onto him, for he was naked, and did cast himself into the sea. Verse 8, and the other disciples came in a little ship, in parentheses here, you know, this is an insertion here, right? For they were not far from land, but as it were 200 cubits, dragging the net with fishes, okay? With fishes, not with seaweed or whatever that you vegans like to eat, or any other vegetation from the sea, right? It says fishes, okay? Animal flesh. Verse 9. As soon as they were come to land, they saw a fire of coals there, and fish laid thereupon, and bread. All right, so there's no confusion here. All right, it says fish and bread. As I was saying before, you know, when it says meat here in the scriptures, that it could be talking about bread, or it could be talking about animal, not animal flesh, lakia, but fruits and vegetables flesh, right? So it could be either or it could be animal flesh too. Okay, so there's a clear distinction here in verse 9, as it says here again. As soon then as they were come to land, they saw a fire of coals there, and fish laid thereon, and bread. Verse 10. Yahushua saith unto them, bring of the fish which ye now caught. Verse 11. Simon Peter went up and drew the net to land full of great fish, 153. And for all there were so many, yet was not the net broken. All right, so that net was so full of fish. I mean, it was just crazy, right, as it says here. And 153, which means like 153 fish, right? It's a lot of fish there. And for all there were so many, yet was not the net broken. Verse 12. Yahushua said unto them, come and dine, all right? Come and eat, all right? Come and eat your meat, your fish, all right? Your animal flesh meat, okay? And none of the disciples durst ask him, who art thou? Knowing that it was Hamashiach, the Lord, our God, okay? Verse 13. Yahushua then cometh and taketh bread and give them, and fish likewise, all right? So this right here is even saying Hamashiach Yahushua was giving the people bread and meat, okay? So if you're a so-called religious Christian or Roman Catholic or Catholic or whatever, you know, no matter if you're in baptism, no matter if you're a Jehovah's Witness, no matter if you're a Seventh-day Adventist, no matter if you're a Pentecostal, okay, no matter if you're a Mormon, which is an antichrist religion or branch of religious Christianity, right? This right here says, verse 13, and Hamashiach Yahushua then cometh and taketh bread and giveth them, and fish likewise. Verse 14. This is now the third time that Hamashiach Yahushua shewed himself to his disciples after that he was risen from the dead. Okay. Verse 15. So when they had dined, Hamashiach Yahushua saith unto Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? Meaning the other people that was around. And then it says, he saith unto him, which is Simon Peter, yeah, Lord. All right. He's speaking to Hamashiach Yahushua. Thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto them, feed my lambs. Okay. Now the lambs are talking about the children of Israel, the descendants of Jacob. All right. You so-called descendants of slaves. Okay. You so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians. All right. So when he says feed my lambs, it can mean either two things. In this context, it's talking about the fish and the bread. And also it could mean the doctrine, the scriptures, the keeping of the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High. All right. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Let's go to chapter 6 in the book of St. John. So right here, thus far, it's been proven through the Most High and Hamashiach Yahushua, in which the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. The both of them fed the people meat, all right? So there's no excuses there. You can see it right here on my screen. If you didn't see it, you can rewind it. Either way, all right? All right, so in the book of St. John, chapter 6, and I'm going to start at verse 5, and it reads as follows. When Yahushua then lifted up his eyes and saw a great company come unto him, he saith unto Philip, whence shall we buy bread, that these may eat? All right, so this is when Yahushua was here on earth in the flesh, all right? Different from chapter 21, all right?